Never argue with foolish people. Outsmart them instead. Stoicism. Have you ever argued with someone who simply refuses to listen? You explain yourself. They interrupt. You give them facts. They change the subject. You remain calm. They become louder. And before you know it, you're angry, exhausted, and wondering why you even bothered. The Stoics understood something powerful. Not every battle deserves your energy. Sometimes the smartest response is not to prove you're right. Sometimes the smartest response is to walk away. Welcome back to the channel. If you are interested in Stoicism, self-mastery, emotional control, mental strength, and becoming the kind of person who cannot easily be disturbed by others, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Today, we're going to explore one of the most powerful Stoic lessons. Never argue with foolish people. Outsmart them by refusing to become like them. 1. Understand what you're really fighting. When you argue with a foolish person, you may think you're fighting their opinion. But often, you're fighting something deeper. You're fighting their ego. You're fighting their need to be right. You're fighting their insecurity. You're fighting their desire to provoke you. And here's the problem. You cannot win a battle with someone whose goal isn't understanding. Think about it. If two people disagree and both genuinely want the truth, discussion can be productive. But when someone only wants to dominate the conversation, embarrass you, provoke you, or make you angry, logic may accomplish very little. The Stoic response is simple. Recognize the game before you decide to play it. You don't have to respond to every challenge. You don't have to correct every person. You don't have to defend yourself against every accusation. Your peace is valuable. Don't spend it cheaply. 2. Silence is sometimes the strongest answer. Many people believe strength means having the perfect comeback. Stoicism teaches something different. Sometimes strength is having the perfect opportunity to respond, and choosing silence. Imagine someone insults you. They expect you to become angry. They want you to react. They want emotional control over you. But you simply look at them calmly and say, "Okay. That's it." No shouting. No explanation. No counterattack. No emotional performance. You've just taken away their power. Because a person cannot easily control someone who refuses to be emotionally controlled. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly emphasized the importance of governing your own mind rather than being controlled by external events. The insult is outside you. Your reaction belongs to you. And that distinction is where your power begins. 3. Stop trying to prove yourself. One of the biggest traps in life is feeling the need to prove yourself. Someone misunderstands you. You explain. They still don't understand. You explain again. They still criticize you. So you explain even more. Eventually, you're spending enormous amounts of energy trying to convince someone who has already decided what they believe. Ask yourself, why am I trying so hard to win this person's approval? You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need everyone to agree with you. You don't need everyone to recognize your intentions. Your character is not determined by another person's opinion. Let your actions speak. A Stoic doesn't constantly announce his strength. He demonstrates it through his behavior. 4. Learn to recognize provocation. Some people don't want a conversation. They want a reaction. They may deliberately say something offensive. They may criticize you publicly. They may bring up your past. They may question your intelligence. They may mock your goals. Why? Because they have discovered that emotional reactions give them access to you. If they can make you angry, they can influence your behavior. So learn to recognize the trap. When someone says something designed to provoke you, don't immediately respond. Pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what outcome will my reaction create? If the answer is embarrassment, regret, conflict, or wasted energy, remain silent. You don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. 5. Don't fight for the last word. There is a strange human desire to have the final word. Someone says something. You respond. They respond. You respond again. And suddenly you've spent 30 minutes arguing about something that won't matter tomorrow. Why? Because both people want the last word. The Stoic asks a better question. Is this conversation worth my peace? If the answer is no, leave. Let them have the last word. Let them think they won. Let them tell their friends that they defeated you. It doesn't matter. You know who you are. And sometimes allowing someone else to feel victorious is the price of protecting your peace. Remember, you don't need to win every conversation to win at life. 6. Choose your battles carefully. Not every disagreement is meaningless. There are moments when you must speak. You should defend someone who is being treated unfairly. You should correct serious misinformation when the consequences matter. You should establish boundaries when someone repeatedly disrespects you. Stoicism is not cowardice. It is controlled action. The question isn't, should I always stay silent? The better question is speaking necessary, useful, and within my control? If yes, speak calmly. If no, let it go. That is wisdom. 7. Control your emotional temperature. When someone is foolish, they may raise their voice. You lower yours. They become emotional. You become more composed. They become aggressive. You become more deliberate. Why? Because emotional control is contagious. If you become angry, you've entered their world. If you remain calm, you remain in yours. Imagine someone yelling at you. Instead of matching their volume, speak slowly. Instead of defending every accusation, answer only what matters. Instead of reacting immediately, pause. Your calmness becomes a psychological advantage. You don't need to overpower them. You simply need to remain in control of yourself. 8. Don't let someone else's ignorance become your anger. This is one of the most important lessons. Someone else's behavior does not have to determine your emotional state. If someone is ignorant, that's their problem. If someone is rude, that's their choice. If someone is dishonest, that's their character. But if their behavior causes you to lose control, you've allowed their weakness to become yours. The Stoics believe that external events do not automatically control our inner state. There is always a space between what happens and how we respond. That space is where discipline lives. Use it. 9. Outsmart them by refusing to become them. This may be the most important lesson of all. If someone is rude and you become rude, what have you gained? If someone is hateful and you become hateful, how have you improved? If someone is irrational and you become irrational, who really won? You don't outsmart foolishness by becoming foolish yourself. You outsmart it through self-control. Someone throws anger at you. You respond with composure. Someone brings chaos. You bring clarity. Someone wants conflict. You choose peace. That's not weakness. That's mastery. 10. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't care. There is a difference between clarification and over-explanation. Clarification communicates information. Over-explanation often comes from insecurity. You feel like you must convince everyone that you're a good person. You feel like you must prove that your intentions were pure. You feel like you must defend every decision. But here's a powerful Stoic principle. Your life does not need to be a courtroom where everyone gets to cross-examine you. You are allowed to say, I understand that you see it differently, and move on. You are allowed to say, that's your opinion, and continue your day. You are allowed to say nothing at all. 11. Watch what happens when you stop reacting. When you stop reacting to everything, something interesting happens. People begin to realize they cannot easily manipulate you. The person who used to provoke you becomes frustrated. The person who expected an argument receives silence. The person who expected an emotional explanation receives a calm answer. And eventually, they may stop trying. But don't practice emotional control to punish them. Practice it to free yourself. That's the difference. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming disciplined. 12. Don't confuse winning with wisdom. You can win an argument and still lose your peace. You can prove someone wrong and still damage a relationship. You can have the perfect comeback and still regret saying it. So ask yourself, what does winning this argument actually give me? If it gives you nothing meaningful, walk away. The wise person doesn't measure victory by how many people they defeat. They measure victory by how well they govern themselves. 13. Let your results speak. There will always be people who doubt you. They will tell you that your goals are unrealistic. They will criticize your decisions. They will laugh at your ambitions. You could spend hours arguing with them. Or you could use that same energy to build. Build your skills. Build your body. Build your business. Build your relationships. Build your character. Build your future. Eventually, your results will communicate what your arguments never could. Success doesn't need to shout. It simply exists. 14. Practice the Stoic pause. Here's a practical exercise you can begin today. Whenever someone says something that triggers you, don't respond immediately. Pause for 3 seconds. Take one breath. Then ask yourself, is my response going to improve this situation? If yes, respond. If no, remain silent. This tiny pause can completely change your life. Because between stimulus and response lies choice. And the person who controls that moment controls much more of their life. 15. Become difficult to disturb. Imagine becoming the kind of person who cannot easily be shaken. Someone insults you. You remain calm. Someone rejects you. You continue forward. Someone misunderstands you. You don't panic. Someone tries to provoke you. You smile and move on. Someone doesn't appreciate you. You don't beg for validation. This is the kind of inner strength Stoicism teaches. Not the strength to dominate others. The strength to master yourself. Because the greatest victory isn't controlling another person's behavior. It's controlling your own mind. Final lesson. The next time someone tries to pull you into a pointless argument, remember this. You don't have to answer every accusation. You don't have to correct every fool. You don't have to prove your intelligence. You don't have to defend yourself against every opinion. And you certainly don't have to sacrifice your peace just because someone else has lost theirs. Sometimes the most intelligent response is silence. Sometimes the strongest response is walking away. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to participate. Don't argue with foolish people. Don't wrestle with chaos. Don't chase the last word. Don't allow someone else's lack of self-control to steal yours. Instead, remain calm. Observe. Think. Choose your response. And if necessary, walk away. Because the Stoic understands something many people never learn. You don't become powerful by controlling other people. You become powerful by becoming impossible to control. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, don't ask, how can I defeat this person? Ask, how can I remain the master of myself? That is the real Stoic victory. If this message gave you something valuable to think about, subscribe to the channel for more lessons on Stoicism, discipline, emotional control, self-mastery, and mental strength. And remember, silence is not weakness. Walking away is not defeat. And refusing to argue with foolishness may be one of the smartest decisions you ever make. Stay calm. Stay disciplined. Stay in control. And never give someone else the power to disturb the peace you work so hard to build.